Ole, 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 ole. It's the fun part of live television. Yes, Canada has won. Nathan McKinnon, the winner, 3-2. They have moved on to the gold medal games Sunday morning at the Olympics. And now, USA, it's up to you to do your part. Okay, Mike Davis joins us from the Vegas Nighthawks Indoor Football League team on a Football Friday. Happy Friday, Mike. Listen, if you don't mind, I want to introduce you a little more to the viewers. You always told me you're from St. Louis and not the biggest hockey guy. Are you getting into it a little bit? A little bit this
No,
week?
I'm from Virginia, but I lived in St. Louis for 10 years, and obviously, when I married a Canadian and got in the CFL, it's hockey. Hockey is part of the family, so you just and then you get recruited to work for one of the biggest hockey teams in the world. It's pretty easy to be a hockey guy.
Yeah, exactly. Mike, well, the Vegas Nighthawks under the umbrella of the Vegas Golden Knights, the Henderson Silver Knights, and all the great sports teams there in Sin City. But it is a football Friday. And again, by the time this airs, prime time in Vegas on Friday night, let's hoping we're talking about USA beating Slovakia in a semifinal, moving on to the gold medal game. But I didn't bring here to talk hockey. You know that, Mike. And I don't know if you were watching before the break. Super Bowl ratings, the final ratings were announced by Nielsen on Thursday, and they're down 2 million from last year. Why do you think that was?
Well, you kind of answered the question. The star power, right? Like, who are the superstars in the game? You know, Sam Darnold, Drake May, Stephon Diggs. Like, there's no Mahomes, there's no Burrow, there's no Brady. There's not that. Even like being in San Fran, there's no Christian McCaffrey. There's no superstar or face of the NFL. So it didn't have any clout. Like, yeah, people still went and things like that because it's the Super Bowl. It's one of the biggest sporting events in the world. But so people are always going to go. But the lackluster of star power. Two great teams, phenomenal football game, could have been way better, but um, it was boring in the first half. Got exciting in the second, but it kind of came out the way I thought. But yeah, just the star power or the lack thereof.
Yeah, and it was over with 8 minutes to go on a pick six. To be honest, I felt like it was a nightmare for the NFL, and I don't know how they would look at it, but I don't. Nobody would have left San Francisco saying this was the greatest Super Bowl ever. And I apologize because I did not tell you I was going to ask you about this, but you're a smart guy; you can handle it. 2 years ago in Las Vegas, I was there, and a lot of people said that was the greatest Super Bowl ever. The weather wasn't great; it was a little chillier than I thought. But you and I were going to get together that week. It didn't happen, and I left all. Well, I didn't get to see Mike. I felt like you might be a little busy as a football guy, Super Bowl week in Las Vegas. What was your week like there in Sin City?
Um, Actually, it was I avoided downtown as much as I could. Literally, it just there's so much going on, and everybody was in town, and everybody was pulling to do different things in different directions. And when it's not work or football, or everybody knows I'm a big horse race guy, I'm a homebody. Like, I'll go play some golf. But me, it's nice when you're a workaholic, being able to kind of just relax and decompress is nice.
That is the misnomer of people that live in Vegas. People think you're down on the strip all the time. Anybody I know goes nowhere near it unless they got to work. And I'll say on the Saturday night of Super Bowl weekend, I almost personally witnessed several fights down from traffic on the strip. I'm like, yeah, it's not somewhere that you wanted to be. But that game was great because it went to overtime with the Chiefs pulling it out against the 49ers. My last NFL question for you, Mike, is this. They announced this week NFL is going to go play in France. The 49ers are going to be playing in Mexico City this year. They're going to Australia. Cowboys are going to play in Brazil. What do you think the end game is? What's the thinking behind this from the NFL?
Well, they want to. I mean, NFL is a global brand, but they want global teams, right? Like, if you look
Okay.
at what happens when they put it, like, look at the games. Was it the Eagles were in Brazil last year? A The stadium's packed. They go to Wembley. It's packed. Like, everywhere they go, it's the hottest ticket in town. Yes, it's for one game, right? But everything is going crazy.
You're good. You're good. So, are you with me though, Mike? That because I think they want to put teams around the world. I really do. And there's people saying you're crazy. You can see that.
100%. look how much money it can generate. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, right? That is, it's all about the dollar. Like, look at the money that some of these things are going up, and it's crazy. The salary cap just went up another. God, don't quote me on this. I just saw it last week. Like another $12 million or 20 million, whatever it was. It just keeps going up and up and up, and these guys just spend more.
Yeah, and I think that I don't know if this is a Goodell push thing or if it's certain owners that want to put like a division in Europe and a division in Australia or however they do it. But I would think Goodell would like to walk away going, hey, my legacy was we made this a literal worldwide league, the first in the history of the world. And they could do it.
And it's hard though, Rod. You think about it. All these teams that go over wherever they're going, Brazil, Germany, Spain, France, Australia, those teams after the next week have a bye week, right? Because they have to, because of the travel, the jet lag, the moving stuff back and forth. How would you do that if you don't have multiple teams across the pond, so to speak? It's hard.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. You would have a European division, you would have an Australian division, you would have a South American division, an American division, and we all play a playoff to the Super Bowl wherever the God's green earth that is. North Pole. I don't know, but that's kind of where I see it going too. It's a football Friday. Mike Davis joining us from the Vegas Nighthawks. Yes, you asked what we wanted to talk about. I feel terrible. I just threw multiple curveballs at you, but I knew you'd handle it just fine. It looks to me like the United Football League is opening training camps this weekend. Like I'm trying to not pay attention to it, but it's getting shoved in my face by their fans, by the league. And you said that you should be all over it. You're a personnel guy. What's your excitement level for their kickoff on Friday, March 27th?
I don't know if it's the excitement level, but like I know, Mike Rapoli and what he's trying to do. Um, it'll be interesting. I'm more intrigued to see how it's going to work, right? Because nobody will tell you the exact numbers. What you've heard, 2 years ago they lost 200 million. Last year they lost 180 million. Like wealthy people don't get wealthy by losing hundreds of millions of dollars, right? So I see what they did this year. They took a lot of local faces, AJ McCarron, Ricky Prohl, Ted Ginn Jr., first time coaches who've never coached a day in their life, and stuck them in cities where they're from, like Birmingham and St. Louis and Columbus, Ohio, and things like that, to drum up the fan base, or what they hope drums up the fan base. They had their fan fest parties the last 2 weeks, and they've done well. There's been a ton of people. That doesn't always relate to ticket sales. Like you can get a face-to-face interaction at a fan fest. It's hard otherwise.
Well, so let me ask you this, because you said you can talk about the CFL and UFL for days, as can I. When this all came online and The Rock was involved, I was the guy saying, let's bring it together. And you remember Randy Ambrosi, the former commissioner of the CFL, famously saying, we're talking about talking with The Rock, which sent off alarm bells. That was right at the start of COVID, so it just gave us all something to talk about, right? But those leagues, they're not working together. I mean, what is the relationship from what you can see between the UFL and the CFL?
I think that there is a good, from my understanding, there is a good relationship, right? Obviously, they've entered back into the window, the free agent window for guys to move back and forth, and but people don't understand. Like it takes a special talent to be in the NFL, and it also takes a special talent to be in the CFL. But normally those talents don't align. Sometimes they do, pass rushers, O line, returners, but it's hard. Like if you look at just position groups, theoretically, NFL linebackers are bigger. CFL linebackers are a little smaller and faster because they got to cover more space, right? You don't have the downhill, the big thumpers, right? The CFL, you don't have the big monster 320-pound D tackles because it's a faster game. Those guys struggle to do that. So you have some big guys up there, but how productive are the big guys? Let's be honest, right? Um, I think it's they're missing the boat on the DB side of things. Obviously, receivers are receivers, but they kind of get overshadowed because they have the waggle, the forward motion. So the people are like, oh, unless you're just a burner, the waggle's helping you to get open.
Mm-hmm.
DBs, if you can cover a waggle, you can cover somebody stationary. I just think they miss out on that uh, a little more than you would think.
Mike Davis with us from the Vegas Nighthawks, and I'll get to where the IFL fits into this in a second. But I get this question a lot, and you've been in South Florida a lot. You know, this is this is football territory if ever was. And what are they talking about here? Obviously, the coaching carousel and all the rest, but NIL, 5, 6, 7 million for a quarterback. A long snapper's getting six figures. And people are saying, how does that affect the UFLs and the CFLs? I.e., if you're making six figures in college, why would you go play pro for a fraction of that? What is the players? I don't know that world. I've never been in it. What are you hearing from the players? What are you guys saying about that?
Players want to play. First of all, players want to play. Like if they think that they have the slightest bit of chance to be outside, be in the NFL, stuff like that, they want to play, right? And I can just speak from guys that we've talked to and things like that. Like we have a guy here that made almost $2 million in NIL money in college, but he's sitting on the street, right? He was good with his money, but everybody's telling him, "I need more film. I need more film." Well, there's so many players, and guys just they need an opportunity. So when you look at it, if you make the right relationships, a lot of agents are going to push to guys where they feel comfortable, right? Like a guy, I got a phone call from Kenny Kim yesterday, right?
Oh, yeah.
One of the best
Agent.
CFL agents in the business. Yeah. And he's like, hey, I got some guys and they need an opportunity. Well, we start camp next week. Kenny, yeah, send them to me. I'll look at anybody, right? If it can make our team better. But we're pretty solid about where we're at. But as a coach and a GM, like if you're not looking at players consistently, you're falling behind because you're one injury away from the next man up. And who is your next man up?
I'm telling you, Mike, this is exactly the way I was hoping it would go because all the ballers are writing in. Okay, Arlen Bruce writes in. He says, if I was a professional football player, I would be excited to play. NFL, CFL, USFL, IFL, even arena football is what keeps life interesting. Good luck to all the future pro football players. Eric in Vancouver says there's no UFL teams in the Western time zone. I'll try to follow it, but come on. Ken writes in. He says, UFL centralized hub makes it hard to generate local stories. Are they still doing that?
Yeah. So everybody right now is just reported into Dallas. And so how it works is they're all in Dallas. They all have their times. They're all in the same building. Everybody has their own floor. So the Dallas Renegades, let's say, are on floor 2, right? The Birmingham Stallions have floor 3. And in there is your coach's offices, your team meeting rooms, your weight area, stuff like that. And then they practice. And then the day before games, both teams get on the same airplane and they fly to the city. And they stay there the night and they play the game and then they come back to Dallas.
That doesn't seem like a long-term plan for success to me.
I mean, obviously, you hear Rapoli and everybody talking about, hey, we'd like to be in our cities full time. That's hard, right? Like, and I understand the people that saying there's no West Coast teams. Nobody, it's people don't want to go west, right? For whatever reason because of the time change, but they'll go from central to east, right? I don't understand but they don't want like. And my thought is because if they do get in your respective cities, it would be like the CFL. You would be crossing 2 time zones. Right now, you're in Dallas. You go east or you go west. But if their plan is to have everybody in their respective cities, I can see why they're trying to make it cost effective. Keep it in. Hey, I want an hour here, an hour there. It's easy. You can get on a flight in Dallas, and within literally 2 hours and 20 minutes, you can be anywhere in the Midwest or the East Coast.
Okay.
So it makes sense.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you explained that for me. Jeff, the Stampeders fan, writes in. He says, sounds like COVID time dystopia. Yes, it does. Mike, maybe you can settle an argument for me. Actually, I know you can. Vancouver Eric writes in and says, are there enough good players to make another competitive CFL team? Because I'm sitting here looking at CFL free agency going, We need more teams, man. It's just a merry-go-round. The players are just switching colors every year. It's not that exciting for me. We need more teams. And this Eric is going, there's not enough players for expansion. How would you address that?
There's a plethora of players begging to play football, right? Now, are some of the younger players ready to step up and be a starter or a superstar role? Well, that's where your coaches come into play, right? But yes, I think there's enough players to have a 10th CFL team. I think that there's um, the problem right now is the 1 year contracts, right? Everybody, it's a revolving door because there's no financial stability. Nobody wants to guarantee this or guarantee that. So people are going to the highest bidder. It's literally college football NIL every year in the CFL. Where can I go get the bigger dollar? Like you see some of these numbers that these young men got, like it crazy. Like Coulter Woodmansey gets, somebody told me $300,000. Like okay, great for him, but how long is that sustainable? Right, some of these receivers getting 250, 300,000. They're worth every penny of it. But again, how long is that sustainable, right? Is that because you want to go get the superstar or you don't want to train and recruit somebody younger that can develop the next superstar? Like who's the next guy in line, right? Like if you look at when I was in the CFL, we did this study that most quarterbacks in the CFL didn't become good until they were 28 years old. Besides Davis Alexander,
Hmm.
who's under 27 in the CFL?
Well, I mean, I'm not
Nathan
on
Wood.
the scene
Nathan
like I
Wood.
was. Yeah. You tell me.
That's it.
Trey Ford?
So he's not a starter, right? So what happens when the Caleros is retired and VA retires and Bo Levi retires and Chad Kelly retires and Arbuckle retires and like what are you doing? Like who's the crop that's going to keep the CFL game elevated at its highest level currently? Who's the big names that people are like, oh my goodness? And Montreal went out and found a gem in Davis Alexander, right? Who's the next Davis Alexander? Are they in the CFL right now? Is it PJ Walker? Is it Jake Mayer if he gets his true opportunity? Like, who is it?
Well, you just cracked a Pandora's box and we have less than 2 minutes to go. I'm sitting here going, how did we get here? How did we get in this position, Mike?
It's the good old boys club. Everybody loves to go out and just pick and pick and pick instead of really working and spreading the net. And there's some guys up there in CFL that do a phenomenal job, and I'm not taking away from them, right? But then there's some people that, oh well, this guy referred me to this guy instead of me really doing it. I'm gonna just take his advice. This is a boots on the ground business, and if you're not grinding daily, you're falling behind. That's why I give my cap. I tip my cap to Alex and them in Hamilton. They've done what they went out and got Trevor Reed. They went out and got some new guys. Like he's not scared to go young.
When you're talking about Scott Milanovich, obviously. Well, sounds like we're just scratching the surface for next week. We continue this going. They're gonna cut us off here. We're out of time. But Mike, thanks for this. It was exactly as promised. Ball for all. Thanks for this. Enjoy the weekend, Mike, and we'll chat with you next week.
Not a problem. Thanks, Rod.
Mike Davis from the Vegas Nighthawks of the Indoor Football League. We got going into that personnel stuff and to get into a bunch of the other stuff that I had planned, but that's a good thing. And the viewers are eating it up as well. Ken writes that he says maybe Reed Johnson would still be covering the UFL if there was a team in Seattle. Yeah, lots to think about. The Moose is next. We'll be talking Olympic hockey right after this.